Welcome to the deep dive. So there's a lot of talk, quite a buzz actually, in the Formula One world right now about Aston Martin. Specifically, what 2026 might look like for them.
Mhm.
We've definitely heard from some of you, with real questions, especially since 2026 is, well, it's meant to be Fernando Alonso's last year on his current contract. So yeah, concerns about performance dropping off, maybe.
Understandable concerns, definitely.
And there's this kind of feeling, this narrative maybe, that Aston Martin has already, written off 2026, basically given up before it starts.
Right, which sounds pretty dramatic.
Exactly. And that's what we want to get into today. We're digging deep into that specific idea.
Yeah, and helping us do that, one of you actually shared a really interesting source. It's a video from the F1 Blogs channel.
Ah, yes, F1 blogs.
The video is called Aston Martin No ha dicho que vaya mal para 2026 soymotor.com. And the listener who sent it, well, they basically want to cut through all the noise, the speculation, and figure out what Aston Martin is actually saying about their future prospects.
Makes perfect sense. So our mission here in this deep dive is to try and separate, the fan theories and the rumors from what's actually been communicated officially.
What's fact and what's maybe interpretation.
Precisely. We'll look at what has been said, what hasn't, and maybe try to understand, well, why this whole they're writing off 2026 story is even a thing right now.
Okay.
So let's just start there. The basic idea. Aston Martin, in May 2025, openly saying, yeah, 2026 is looking bad for us.
It feels wrong, doesn't it? Kind of counterintuitive.
It really does. I mean, think about the context. They've literally just signed Adrian Newey.
Yeah.
A massive coup.
Huge.
They've poured millions, maybe billions, into these brand new state-of-the-art facilities. And just from a basic F1 team strategy point of view,
Yeah.
why would you ever publicly talk down your chances almost 2 years in advance? It just doesn't stack up marketing-wise or competitively.
No, absolutely not. It makes you immediately think of that classic F1 humo, smoke and mirrors.
Exactly. The F1 blogs video brings that up too. Right. And we've seen this kind of thing before, haven't we? Alpine's whole L-plan thing with Alonso a few years back. Lots of hype.
Loads of hype. But the results on track, well, they didn't always match the big talk, did they?
Not quite, no.
And the F1 Blogs video actually draws a really interesting parallel with Aston Martin's own recent past. Remember the start of 2023?
Oh, yeah. Incredible start. Alonso on the podium, constantly.
Exactly. But then, post-Canada, something changed. The development seemed to stall a bit, or maybe the others caught up faster.
Right.
But the messaging from the team stayed pretty optimistic. Keep the faith. Whereas this season, look at Miami, for instance, clearly that performance was, well, not where they wanted to be.
Yeah, a definite dip. The video really highlights that contrast, doesn't it, between the positive spin and the sometimes tougher reality on track.
It does, and it points to something quite telling, their preseason comments this year. Remember, they had very little running and testing,
Lots of questions about that.
but they kind of downplayed any big problems. Then later, I think it was in China, they basically admitted, yeah, testing didn't go quite to plan, and we're actually using race weekends to run experiments.
Ah, okay. So why do that? Why the sort of deflection beforehand? What's the thinking?
Well, connecting the dots, as the video seems to suggest, it's likely about managing perceptions. Fan sentiment is huge.
Of course. Merchandise, sponsors.
Exactly. And even the image of their road cars, potentially. You don't want to kick off a season telling everyone your new car has fundamental flaws. It's just bad business.
Okay, yeah, that makes total sense. Which brings us to another massive piece of the 2026 puzzle.
Honda.
The Honda partnership. Yeah, that's crucial.
Because this isn't just buying an engine off the shelf, is it? This is a full-on works partnership.
Right. They're in it together, developing the power unit and chassis integration side by side, much deeper than being a customer team like they are with Mercedes now. So, given that massive commitment, that huge partnership, why on earth would Aston Martin publicly shoot themselves in the foot about 2026? Especially with Honda involved.
You wouldn't think they would. The stakes are so much higher. It's Honda's reputation too, right? Not to mention big sponsors like Aramco, Valvoline.
Yeah.
They all want success.
Yeah.
And the video mentions the kind of nuanced messages coming from Honda too, about their own 2026 engine progress. A bit of, oh, it's challenging, that may be more positive updates later.
Right, so everyone's being a bit careful with their words.
Exactly. It just reinforces why Aston Martin would be, extra cautious about sounding negative about their joint future. It's a proper works deal, big implications.
Okay, so let's get to the heart of it then. The F1 Blogs video, drawing on Aston Martin's own website content, focuses on what Bob Bell actually said. What's the gist of his comments?
Well, this is where it gets interesting. According to Bell, via the team's site, Aston Martin does acknowledge something. They recognize that the huge 2026 regulation changes. Well, they might be a bigger challenge for them compared to some other, maybe more established teams.
Okay, so might pose a bigger challenge. That's very different from we expect to be bad.
Worlds apart, yeah. He's highlighting a potential difficulty, not predicting failure.
So what's his reasoning then? Why might it be tougher for them?
He points to a few things, basically. First, just the sheer scale of change inside the team since, say, 2021. So many new people.
Right, massive recruitment drive.
Huge. Second, becoming a proper works team, getting all these new facilities like the wind tunnel fully up to speed. That takes time. It's not instant.
Okay.
He specifically mentions the wind tunnel, actually, saying they need time to get it calibrated and optimized to the level of, say, the Mercedes one they used to use.
Oh, so it's not just having the gear, it's learning how to use it perfectly.
Precisely. It's like a complex scientific instrument. You need to really dial it in, build your processes around it to trust the data. And crucially, he says this learning, this optimization is happening right now alongside developing the 2026 car itself.
Wow, okay, so they're juggling quite a lot. Integrating a rapidly growing team, betting in new tech, and tackling massive new regulations.
That's the picture he paints. But he also stressed the positives. He sounded really enthusiastic about the Honda deal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently said quite clearly they couldn't realistically expect to win consistently just buying engines from Mercedes. Becoming a works team was essential for that ambition.
Right, taking control of their own destiny, sort of.
Exactly. But he also acknowledged, look, it's hard work. They have to do so much more from scratch now. No more buying the gearbox and rear end from Mercedes, for example. It's all got to be designed and built in-house.
Okay, it paints a picture of significant internal upheaval coinciding with major external rule changes. Now, if we look at right now, 2024, we've seen Aston struggle a bit with upgrades working, performance dips like in Miami. Could those current issues maybe be linked to these challenges Bell is talking about for 2026, like early signs of the difficulty in integrating everything?
That's a really sharp question. Could these struggles be sort of teething problems related to these bigger internal changes? Maybe early indicators of the complexities Bell alluded to?
Yeah.
It's definitely plausible, something to watch. Are they finding it hard to get the processes working smoothly with the new people, new factory, new parts? Perhaps.
The Newey factor.
The Adrian Newey wildcard. His expertise, especially in aerodynamics, suspension, you just can't predict how big a positive impact he might have, especially with new rules.
Fair point. So if we try and summarize Aston Martin's communication strategy for 2026, what does it look like overall?
Well, it seems like they're playing it quite carefully, walking a bit of a tightrope maybe.
How?
They're acknowledging, look, this is the big transition for us. New rules are tough. It might take time. So managing expectations a bit. But at the same time, they're heavily emphasizing the positives. We've got Honda, we've got Newey, we've got this amazing new factory, projecting optimism, keeping sponsors and fans engaged.
So highlighting challenges while stressing potential, it's ambiguous.
Deliberately ambiguous, perhaps, because let's be honest, no team really knows the 2026 pecking order yet. It's a total reset. So why make bold, definitive claims either way?
True.
And as the F1 Blog's analysis points out very clearly, Bob Bell highlighted potential difficulties, the need for time and integration. But he absolutely did not say Aston Martin expects to perform badly in 2026.
Right. That seems to be the absolute core message here. So for everyone listening, the key takeaway really is, despite what you might read or hear, Aston Martin has not actually said they'll be bad in 2026.
No.
Their official line, highlighted by F1 Blogs, is much more nuanced. It's about the potential challenges that come with huge internal changes and completely new F1 rules.
Exactly. Which leads to a bigger thought, really, for you listening. In this whole F1 world, how much of the communication we get from teams is, well, carefully crafted PR, strategic messaging, versus a truly open, honest reflection of what's actually happening internally? Where's that line?
Interesting question. And thinking about Aston specifically, what will Adrian Newey's real impact be? Can you quantify it?
And will that Honda Works partnership actually deliver? Will it be the game changer they clearly hope it will be? Lots of unknowns.
Definitely food for thought. And, the F1 blogs video we've been discussing, it makes that concluding point very strongly. Aston Martin acknowledges potential challenges, yes, but they've firmly stated they haven't said they expect to be bad in 2026.
Hmm.
It's a good reminder to maybe look beyond the headlines sometimes. The video encourages you to keep that nuance in mind and also to subscribe to the F1 blogs channel for more of their F1 insights.
Yeah, definitely worth keeping these points in mind as the F1 story unfolds towards 2026.